Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to the beautiful circuit here in Japan. Welcome to Fuji, the home of Fuji International Speedway. Originally built as a family circuit and then aimed to be a NASCAR oval, but was eventually changed to a beautiful circuit we know here today for round 3 of the Raceface.Pro GT3 Sprint Series. And this 4.4 kilometer circuit is home to the longest straight in Japan to go and have a huge amount of fun. So keep an eye on some incredible racing at a 23-degree circuit. And honestly, here in Oyama, we are in for an absolute treat. Multiple amounts of drivers going to be joining us and having a huge amount of fun. Now, championship thus far has been rather busy for many drivers and many teams looking to get the edge, especially after the massive update on the GT3 tires that was done. Now, that does bring in a little bit of an interesting factor for many of our drivers to figure out what's going to work for them and how are they going to be able to move up through the order. And especially on a very cool circuit like what we have here today, we're in for an exciting time of who's going to be able to take the run to the sharp end of the circuit. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I hope you're just as excited as me, as we will be heading into our qualifying. And at the moment, drivers looking to put their best times on the board and ensure they're in for the top of the running. So let's take a look to the likes of Fanny Kravenstein as he tries to get a good time out on the board. It's going to be Luke Leclerc reaching the top of the charts with a 139.0 at the current. So he's hoping that to keep a huge charge ahead of Werner Skuman, who is running in second place. Now, they are running in solo qualifyings, and that does make things a little bit more interesting because there is no reason for you to get it wrong. It's all about trying to get those top positions. We already see Salvatore Cardi getting a 139.6, bettering his best lap time and hoping to really climb through the ranks as fast as possible. So Luke Leclerc leads out and enters to move forward. We have got the likes of Werner Skuman, Salvatore running in third, Willem Buerta in fourth place, Bradley Searle down in fifth, Jaco van der Lith along with Yuri Umpi Swart in seventh, Byron Mitchell out in eighth place, and after having some fun out of the circuit, Noah Hendricks looks to put the charge. First of our Pro-Ams, however, is Gerald Vermeulen, hoping that he can have a stellar time out there with Jacques Ever running in between the likes of Gerald Vermeulen and Joshua Syme, who is on a huge move up through the order. He's hoping to make it work. The Snail's Pace Racing team is not going to be lurking around too long as he takes first place, as we do see Willem Buerta and Byron Mitchell usurping the likes of Salvatore Cardi through as they come across the line. It is a 10-minute quali. They can get 4 laps in to get it up and going. But that being said, we have to ensure that the drivers have got sufficient heat into these tires, which will only come to life at roughly lap 3. Many of the drivers are not able to put in those absolute stellar lap times as they want just as yet. We do have a couple of cars out on circuit, Yas Amai being one, Brandon Roberts and Willem Pienaar, that are yet to put a time on the board. So drivers hoping to make it work. It is straight up to the top. Luke Leclerc wanting to really show off prowess at the moment and not having an easy time keeping that Porsche in check, constantly fighting with the rear, trying to keep it going. Last lap time was a 138.58 as his quickest lap time. Werner Skuman did fire back at him with a 138.9, 0.4 of a second behind in this qualifying. Byron Mitchell holding third place at the moment, but do not count out the Italian Salvatore Cardi. The Demo Racing is one driver to keep a very close eye on. Incredibly quick, knows what he needs to do to make it work. So great to see so many new names and old returning names to the beautiful circuit here at Fuji, and all looking in to put the top times out on the board. Luke Leclerc still undefeated. Willem Buerta, however, puts himself into second place and still keeping on the charge, hoping to make it work. Fanny Kravenstein not able to improve his lap times. Will have to wait it out a little bit longer. We've got so many drivers looking to make an impact here, and a massive welcome to everyone out in the virtual grandstands. It's absolutely wonderful to have you guys here, and also to see how the racing is going to go for round 3 of the GT3 Championship here on iRacing. And it is season 4. We've been going on and on and on, going better and better throughout the racing and improving what can be done, and many of the drivers going and elevating the game as it stands. We have got the likes of Noah Hendricks up into 10th place, Fast Tar down into 11th, Jocks Ever is in 12th. Yasmai is still yet to put a valid lap time on the board, as he does come blazing out and puts himself 16th to the pros, but 22nd overall. Not quite where he wants to be. Gerald Vermillion running first to the Pro-Ams, looking to continue on the drive. Has got Joshua Syme to worry about, and Jason Krinkers as well. So Jason, our Ford driver, waiting to head back out on the track, all the way out from Germany. Joshua, all the way out from the UK, currently holds it in 3rd of the Pro-Ams, and does launch himself up into 11th overall. Joshua not holding back and constantly going and pushing himself out a little bit more. Salvatore Cardi is down into the top 10, trying to stay away from it. Jacques Ever comes across the line, unable to improve on his last lap time. He did a 1:39.72, but not enough to go into that top 10. Yurion P. Swart still waits it out. He comes across. He's going to be in 4th place. Bradley Searle, however, for the Pandacity machine, are trying to get a huge amount of drive at the moment to ensure moving up through the order. And likes of John Ilbrecht coming across will be in 16th overall. Werner Swart, along with Doug Herber, trying to pick up the pace. Doug Herber from Team Try Hard Racing now looks to be back into the top running order. That top 5 of the Pro-Am is on the cards for Doug Herber. Brandon Robert down in 6th of the class, 22nd overall. He's hoping to get improvement this time around. Comes across the line. Is it an improvement? And Brandon does have a serious improvement. 2nd of the Pro-Ams, 14th as he came across the line. Yasmai fires back and is able to get into 21st position. Doug Herber's rounding the final corner, hoping to put a little bit more power behind the Chev. Is it going to be enough? This is the question, and unfortunately, just running out of time. So as we get ready to rock and roll for the huge amount of fun, let's take a look to our grid and see what is going to happen. Luke Lucchesi will be starting out in 1st place. Werner Skuman in 2nd. Willem Buerto, Salvatore Cardi, Yuri Swart, Bradley Searle, Byron Mitchell, Noah Hendricks, Roland Ferreira, Jaco van Lith, Fast Tar, and Jacques Ever going and rounding out our top 12, and all being in the Pro. Looking towards our Pro-Ams, Joshua Syme leads out the Pro-Ams, along with Brandon Roberts, Gerald Vermillion, Yuppie Simons, Werner Swart, Jan Engelbrecht, Jason Krinkers, along with Robbie Teens, rounding out our top 20. Yasmai, Paul Gerber, Doug Herber, going to be chasing down his brother, with Fadi Kravenstein in 24th. Moving on to our last of the field, Etienne Swart, along with Duncan Roderick, Trevor Harper, Willem Pienaar, and John Durant, round out the pack. 29 cars will be starting the grid. 29 cars looking to make an impact here at Fuji. And Werner Skuman lining up against Luke Lucchesi. These two rivals have been at it all season long and have been chasing each other to ensure who's going to be at the top of the running pack. Luke Lucchesi, however, is not afraid to put the hammer down and show that he's in for the fight. That being said, we'll have to see how the race turns out. Many, many drivers are incredibly excited for the race this evening, and many are looking forward to seeing how it's all going to work out. So as we get ready for the green, drivers will wait in anticipation, firing up those motors. Now, they do have a mandatory pit stop. They need to serve, change all 4 tires, and be able to continue on the race. Mandatory, you don't do it, you get penalized. That being said as well, it is open setups for the drivers to tinker around and have a huge amount of fun. Drivers getting ready to go. Jason Krinkers ready in the back. But it is going to be Luke Lucchesi and Werner Skuman, who are going to be taking the charge to the sharp end of the field and will be the first to see the green flag as the cars mount their way around, ensuring they can get going. Around the final corner, all eyes to the front. Luke Lucchesi will set the pace with Werner Skuman lining up side by side. Once we go racing, ladies and gentlemen, it is a 40-minute run to the line. It is going to be a monster race for all competitors, and it is dominated by Porsches at the front. But for how long will we be able to see drivers to go and give it a huge amount of charge? This is lights on, tires warm, and we wait for the green flag. Over to Jim, who will call green. Lights on, safety car will dart off at any moment now. Wow, the pit lane is incredibly down the straight. As the field backs up, the concertina starts to happen. Who is going to be asleep at the start of the race? Who is going to be ready to jump it off the line? Werner Skuman looks to get the jump. The RDSA Esports is working together. Willem Buerta and Luke Lucchesi hoping to keep some domination. And Salvatore Gardi in fourth will push the pandacity of Werner Skuman. When we go green, waiting, and green, we are racing here at Fuji for round 3, and Werner Skuman already moving to the front of Luke Lucchesi's nose. Salvatore Gardi looks to the outside. Oh, contact with the 2, and oh, that is unfortunately Werner Skuman.
Well done, Werner.
But wow, that was a monster impact coming involved, and all coming unglued. Drivers will ensure that they move forward. Salvatore Gardi into the lead. Willem Buerta runs in second place. Byron Mitchell in third. Bradley Searle down into fourth place. Noah Hendricks up into fifth, along with Joshua, who is leading out to the Pro-Ams at the moment, is going to be happy for his start. He's got Roland Ferreira, Werner Swart, and Jason Krinkers trying to catch up and make up some time here. Yaz Samai hopes to put the pressure. Brandon Roberts, second in the Pro-Ams, needs to put the power down to move forward. Couple of cars caught out, unfortunately. Werner Skuman, Jan Engelbrecht, and Luke Lucchesi were part of that monster impact at the start. Salvatore Gardi, unfortunately, losing the rear a little bit, and has now got lots of pressure coming in from Willem Buerta. Buerta continues to try and mount an attack with Byron Mitchell hanging on the back of him. Gently bringing the tires up to temp. It is going to be Byron, however, with the Honda, taking a look on the inside. Couldn't quite make it work, and will have to figure out what's going to be the next plan here. Down the main straight they go. You will start to see the snake as drivers look to try and shake off one another down this impressive straight here in Oyama. Incredibly long, nearly 2 kilometers straight. And Salvatore Gardi leads out the first lap. Buerta losing a little bit of time, however, has now got Byron Mitchell for company. And does look like Buerta put all the effort into a bit of downforce. He's able to make up some time in the middle of the circuit. Unfortunately, when it comes down to the back end, he's not having an easy time. Pit stops already starting to have a play here. Yuri Umpi-Swart, Jakob van Lith, Juppie Simons, Luke Lucchesi went in and out through the pits. Werner Skuman, Fars Tar, and Jan Engelbrecht round out our pack. But it is a wild turn of events off the start. And unfortunately, with Werner Skuman coming across the nose of Luke Lucchesi to try and guard that middle line, got it all out of shape between the two. Joshua feeling the pressure as he's got Roland Ferreira looking around the outside. Roland, a former champion in the Pro-Am field that got moved to Pro. The ETA now dealing with the Snails Pace Racing team, the leader of the Pro-Ams of Joshua, who constantly fights out. Jason Krinkers comes around the outside with the Ford Mustang, and immediately Roland Ferreira, having to just cautiously tiptoe around the circuit, has got Werner Swart for a bit of company. The two of them are in class with one another, and Werner Swart, for the Altered Carbon, is up 8 positions from where he started and trying to make a monster of an impact between the two. So back up to the sharp end of the field, however, as we start to see the snake again for the top 4. Gardi looks to try and hold back Buerta yet again. Middle of the circuit, you can see Byron Mitchell fishing for any way to get round. Look to the inside for turn 1, but not close enough as yet to make the impact. Noah Hendricks for the asymmetric racing team continues to hold on as our top 4 hold station at current. A little bit further down, however, Trevor Harper just pulling away has got Jared Vermillion and the likes of Paul Herber closing up, and the Porsche of Gerald nearly into the back of Trevor. Locked up the anchors big time. Paul Herber actually backed out of it as well, and now has got Farney Cravenstein on the back of him as they charge on here at the beautiful circuit of Fuji. And now we are seeing more and more drivers starting to battle on their way through. Doug Herber continues to put the charge on towards Etienne Swart. He does, however, see Werner Skuman as he laps Werner Skuman, moves out wide. Werner going and fighting back to move his way through the order. So quick flash from Doug Herber just saying, listen, got to try and get round you. Got to race here. And Trevor Harper is making up a fair amount of time. Now, that being said, Werner Skuman is also in a race of his own at current as he's being chased down. So Werner Skuman has got Faztar in the 87 Porsche trying to make up some time, and Doug Herber is sitting in between the two of them. Werner Swart up in 9th position onto the back of the Mustang of Jason Krinkers, and now has Brandon Roberts chasing him down. Etienne Swart continuing to put the pressure on as a short snake starts to come through. Fastest lap time of the race, however, set by Salvatore Gardi in the Ferrari as he continues a light year charge ahead of Byron Mitchell. Now in 2nd place with Noah Hendricks and Bradley Searle down into 4th place. Josh leading out the Pro-Am field has got Willem Buerta and Roland Ferreira, the 2 pros, going and keeping the likes of Jason and also Brandon Roberts a little bit further back at bay for the Pro-Am field. Continuing on the charge, Werner Skuman looking to get round, tries to go for the inside line, not able to do it. Robbie Teens gets into the pit, but take a look, Werner up on the inside with the McLaren. It's extremely good on the brakes, but unfortunately, it looks like Jason has got that Mustang dialed in of note. Does have a little bit of understeer on the way out as they continue on the charge. They don't have to worry about these tires. When it comes to the pit stop, they will need to go and get it sorted out by changing all 4 tires in this 45-minute race. Jason, however, starts feeling the pressure as Werner puts on a mounted charge at the moment, goes out wide, trying to figure out where on earth can he get the run at the moment. And we do, however, get some information. Faz Tar landing up with a bit of a problem. Into the right-hander, going out a little bit wide, allows the field to come through. There's a little bit of contact around him and gets pinched as well. He's able to get himself back into the race, but slowed down drastically to try and avoid all the carnage that was happening around him. Byron Mitchell sets fastest lap time of the race with a 1:36 at the 1:38.6 and continues on his charge. Fanny Cravenstein now looking to go on the attack of Gerald Vermillion. Looks on the inside. The McLaren has got the legs on the Porsche, but for how long can he keep it all the way down before slamming on the anchors? The hairpin coming up into turn 1 is a change of camber of note, and these cars get rather upset if you're on the inside, late on the brakes, sends it on the inside, gets a pass done. Gerald Vermillion down in the order. He's down to 16th position with Yas Mi hanging on the back of him. Constantly fishing, looking for a position gain. Yes, am I not backing down from the fight, as we do have a change of position as Josh Syme and the likes of Willem Buerta nose to tail between the two of them. And take a look at this. Willem Buerta, a pro driver, now going into a fight with the likes of Josh Syme, who continues on a mounted effort to ensure he has a great time out there. Honestly, a monster effort from the Pro-Am driver. Willem Buerta, a constant in the world of defense. He knows how to put that Porsche in just the right places to make life rather difficult. He knows how to go late on the brakes. Well, Josh Syme, on the other hand, is going to bail him out in the McLaren. It does look like Willem Buerta's got the drive out of the hairpin and gets slightly ahead. Now it's going to be a drag race down towards the flag. And it is going to be Willem Buerta deep on the inside, Josh now going to the outside, hoping for turn 1 to be an advantage here. Going to be on the outside, looking for the sweep back is going to be the goal to get it done and dusted. But for how long can he keep the mounted charge on the way through? Heading into turn 1, late on the brakes, Buerta with the Porsche looking so clean and gets the pass all sorted out. So Buerta managing to hold on to that 5th place ahead of Joshua as it stands. But I think these two are just going and holding each other up just enough for Roland Ferreira to start becoming a little bit more of a problem between them. A little bit further back, however, Yaz Samai in for a race as well. He's got Farney Cravenstein just ahead of him, and right behind is Gerald Vermillion going and battling out. Now, Yaz Samai is in the pro class, and he's hoping to make it work on the way through. However, it is going to be a very, very difficult charge for them on this incredible racetrack that does have a high degradation on tires, and that's going to be something that all the drivers have got to factor during the course of this race. On board with the McLaren 720S of Joshua Syme as he continues to try and catch up to Willem Buerta, who's just leapfrogging ahead at the moment. Joshua really hoping that he could take the Snail's Pace Racing team to the top. Has got Willem Buerta holding that 5th position overall. Now, it's 2 different classes, however, but everyone wants to be first to see the checker flag. Roland Ferreira is going to be the next one to have a hard-mounted charge in his McLaren, the ETA Autosport. Now looking to try and get a pass done and dusted. Back up to the sharp end of the field, though. Salvatore Cardi feeling the pressure of Byron Mitchell in the Acura, also known as the Honda NSX, now fighting it out. Salvatore Cardi is going to be so careful here to just try and maintain the tires a little bit further into the race to ensure he has a clean running, while Byron Mitchell has an opportunity to get in for a pit stop that Salvatore won't be expecting. That will change things. Remember, it is a mandatory pit stop. You have to get it done and dusted. Otherwise, you're going to land up in a world of hurt with a penalty. Farney Cravenstein trying to go around the outside of Trevor Harper. Didn't quite work out, however. The Lamborghini of Trevor Harper was just a little bit too fast. SMI a little bit ahead of them. Will continue on his pace, leaving these two to duke it out between one another. Back up to our leaders, however. Salvatore deep on the inside, holding the apex, hoping to make it stick. Corner to corner at the moment. The Ferrari looking rather balanced, does miss out the apex. Bit of a poor drive out of that corner. And now it's around the long right-hander that tightens up underneath you. And you can see Byron Mitchell immediately looked for the inside line. He tried to sweep underneath to get the pass done and dusted. Well, Salvatore has got him sorted out. The Italian not backing down from the fight. Byron Mitchell now in the tow, however, will look to try and make a move here as he continues on the charge towards the sharp end of the field. Byron Mitchell looking to score some big points in the championship. Salvatore Cardi is also looking to take his haul of points to move forward. All the drivers looking for their name and glory for round 3 here at Fuji, and it's going to be a difficult one. Salvatore Cardi, however, is running 4th in the championship with 64 points. Justin Eloff, who is not on the grid tonight, was tied with him for 3rd. Werner Schumanns on 75 points and Luke Lucchesi on 76 points. Both of those drivers, however, did have a coming together in the start of the race that threw them down the order. Monster racing indeed needed as Salvatore Cardi, late on the brakes, you can see shifting all the way down to first, brings the revs right down and just immediately stands on the power to try and move forward. But Byron Mitchell with the twin-turbo V6 Acura now putting pressure on the V6 turbocharged, well, the twin-turbo 4-cylinder, apologize. That's a twin-turbo 4-cylinder of the Acura and a turbocharged V6 of the Ferrari 296, and Byron Mitchell taking a huge look for the inside line. Couldn't quite get the pass done and dusted as they charge down the main straight yet again. Noah Hendricks just watching the battle as he holds 3rd place. We're getting closer and closer to drivers starting to consider the halfway mark in what they need to do. We got yellow flags, however, for Harper as he's landed up in a bit of a problem. Over the curb he goes, trying to keep the Lamborghini in check, and does unfortunately lose the rear on the way through. Not ideal, and losing out a lot of time in the process. Not what you want to be having during the course of this race, and the tires will definitely not be thanking him for that one. Cardi holding first place by 0.2 of a second as these two continue on their charge. Roland Ferreira putting pressure on Joshua Syme is the second of our battles. A little bit further down into 24th position is Yuppie Simons of the CSA team. He's trying to keep a consistent effort as Bradley in the Porsche, losing out a bit of time. Bradley Searle, who has done his pit stop already, will look to try and move up through the entirety of this order, hoping for it all to work out in his favor. As all the drivers start to feel the pressure from one another, they will be starting to get a little bit of information relaying back to the pits of when should they come in. The halfway mark, do we try and push that a little bit further, see what happens? Are we going to be able to move forward during the course of this race? What is going to be the game plan? How are we going to make this work? And that is going to be the constant for the drivers to start thinking about. They will be talking to the teams and saying, right, I need to make this work. I need to move forward in the order. And Roland Ferreira being exactly one of those drivers who wants to make a pass happen. He wants to see it all work out in his favor and to ensure he can score some valuable points for the pro field. Well, he's got a lot of work ahead of him because just ahead is Joshua Syme. He looks to the inside, however, trying to get the drag down the main straight. Hard on the brakes. Roland Ferreira looks to try and steal that 5th place. Can he keep the apex though? Does look like it. Joshua tried his best to come back at him. Wasn't able to do so. Immediately going back on the hunt. In through the double left. It is a very tricky corner to go through. Into the left, into a long right where you've got to feather the throttle the whole way through. And this is where having a lot more aero is far more beneficial. As our drivers continue to fight out, Byron Mitchell and Salvatore Cardi nose to tail, a little bit of paint rub between the two. And these two are not backing down from the fight. They are ensuring to hold in as much as possible. That has brought the likes of Noah Hendricks into the fray as well. Our top 3 are less than a second on one another, and Cardi is on a defensive note. Noah Hendricks tried to look for a pass on Byron Mitchell, but just couldn't strike it, and will have to wait for another opportunity. But Cardi is starting to see this in the mirrors, starting to feel a little bit of fear kicking in as well. We do have one retirement in the race, unfortunately, and that is Luke Lucchesi, who is out of the race due to the contact on the start. Unfortunately, not able to get that car up and going during the course of it all. Big tank slapper from what looked to be one of our Porsches out, going and losing the rear. That might have been Willem Buerta. A little bit of contact yet again from Byron, just to go and try and keep on the back of Salvatore Cardi, but he has now opened up a little bit of a problem for himself as Noah Hendricks in the Ferrari 296 looks to go and complete this sandwich and will continue on his charge. Byron hoping to move up, as got Salvatore just in shot. Top 3 not breaking out, however, but they are starting to catch up to a back marker, and this is also going to play into the favor of Noah Hendricks, who can line up for a box pass at the moment, versus the likes of Salvatore Cardi, who all he wants to do is clear the back markers as fast as possible and not lose time, as Byron Mitchell and Noah Hendricks will continue on the charge. Byron Mitchell got the drive, getting out of the corner. Salvatore trying to get undercuts at the moment, goes out wide, couldn't quite bring it back. Byron Mitchell now leads out the race. Salvatore Cardi goes in a little bit deep, takes the apex, and forces Byron Mitchell over the curbs. Byron loses it. Byron Mitchell has lost the rear, and now Noah Hendricks inherits second place. Byron Mitchell trying to get himself going before Willem Buerta comes around. Here comes Buerta, the RDSA esports driver, has now seen an opportunity for third place arise, and Byron Mitchell has taken some life out of those tires. An absolutely tremendous battle happening out on circuit and so many drivers are having a huge amount of fun out there. Salvatore Cardi leads out the pro field with Noah Hendricks and Byron Mitchell currently running in third. Joshua Syme, however, leads out the Pro-Am field. He has got 3 pros in between him and second place. He's got Jason Kinkers, along with Werner Swart and Paul Herber, who are running in the pros before he has to even worry about Etienne Swart, who has got Doug Herber chasing him down. Our Pro-Ams are on a fight with the pros at the moment and hoping to make it all work here at the beautiful circuit of Fuji for round 3 of the Raceface.Pro iRacing GT3. Noah Hendricks continues on the charge. Now, he has been studying and watching what Salvatore Cardi has had the whole time, as we do see Bradley Searle going and joining back onto the circuit after he's had a spin. Lost out a bit of time on the way through as well. So Bradley, not having an easy time out there, continues on the charge and is now trying to make up some time to Robbie Teens ahead of him. And Robbie Teens now sees the leaders in the mirrors. Bradley opened up the corner, allowed the cars to go through, didn't want to interfere with the race too much. It's going to be up to Robbie Teens to make it work for him. It's going to be down into turn 1. What he can do now is a slight lift, allow the leaders to go for the inside line to get the pass done and dusted. But it is going to be a tremendous amount of work. However, for Noah Hendricks, he needs to stay close enough to make it work in his favor. Another flash of lights for Salvatore Cardi, hoping to just try and see if he can get an easier pass. Robbie Teens goes out wide, lets both cars through, a little tap of the brakes there. Noah Hendricks having to just slow down ever so slightly to just go and clear Robbie Teens, and now mounts back on the charge to Salvatore Cardi out in first place. Another little fight going on is Jason Krinkers along with Werner Swart, both in the pro field. The Altered Carbon going and fighting against our German driver, Jason, hoping to take this Ford Mustang straight to the top as it stands. He is lying in 6th place. Roland Ferreira is a little bit further up the road for the pro class. He's got to clear Joshua Syme, but take a look at Werner Swart. Constantly mounts on the attack. Salvatore Cardi hard on the inside, into the right, into the left, at the bottom of Fuji. And you can immediately see Noah Hendricks hunting down for any pass to happen, trying to force Salvatore Cardi off those apexes to ensure he stays in for a great race indeed. A little bit further back, Jaco van Lith now seeing the likes of Willem Pinot ahead of him. The Teens Bolt Racing Ferrari has got the likes of the Rhino Utility SBR machine onto the back of him. Jaco van Lith not going to be holding back at the moment. Wants to try and gain some time here. He's running 11th in class, but needs to try and clear a Pro-Am. Jason trying to mount on the charge. Has got Werner Swart for a bit of company in the tow, as we do see a couple of drivers starting to consider their time in the pits. Roland Ferreira being one of them. Joshua, leader of our Pro-Ams, dives into pit lane, hoping to move forward, and our leaders hoping to get that earlier pit stop. So it's Cardi out in first, looking to make it work. But with the pit stop starting to come in, Joshua is going to be the litmus test here for the Pro-Ams to see what's going to happen. Etienne Swart now inherits first place with Doug Herber in second place with the Chevrolet. Finally, Cravenstein will take third as he does get ahead. Gerald Vermillion will also gain some time and sporting a bit of damage on that front right of the Porsche. Gerald Vermillion now needs to try and limp that through. These cars do have a fast repair. In other words, they can get spare parts far easier in the pits to continue on their drive. Werner Swart will look to try and fight it out with Jason a little bit further on now. McLaren centralized engine versus the Ford Mustang, where it's all the way in the front, and they do have, looks to be, that would be either Werner Skuman or Bradley Searle chasing them down. Whatever the case is a blue flag that needs to just wait patiently at this point for any opportunity that may arise. He doesn't want to get too involved in the battle as yet, but will want to try and clear to move forward. Salvatore Cardi, once again, goes defensive, inside line, trying to hold back the likes of Noah Hendricks as we do see Willem Pino diving into the pit lane. He will be returning to the track shortly, but pit stops already starting to fly and everyone's starting to think, what do they need to do to get it all sorted out? Mandatory pit stop where they have to change tires means that these drivers are going to be losing out a lot of time, and they need to have enough space between themselves and their competitors to make it work. Take a look at some of the pit stop times, and this will give us a bit of a display of it. It is 56 seconds that is up on the jacks and down for tires and fuel with these cars, and that is going to change how you plan your race, especially with seeing the number of drivers that have actually done their pit stop. Well, it's shortened out quite a bit there, with the likes of Yuri Umpi-Swart being the first of the pros that have done their pit stops. Joshua Syme up into 4th place is running through the order. He is the first of our pro-ams, as we do have a back marker keeping tight through the hairpin, looking to mind out of the way. Noah Hendricks having a go at Cardi. Side by side they go, charging through. It is going to be an absolute chase for both, as Noah Hendricks hugs the inside, and whoa, quick go of the nose for Cardi, who's trying to fish for any way to get past Noah Hendricks. Noah Hendricks goes to the inside, Cardi gets baited. Cardi gets baited and nearly into the back of Vermillion. He took a dive, he made it stick, but what a move. That was absolutely mental for Cardi, and threaded the needle on the pass. My word, what on earth did we just see? That was absolutely mental for Cardi to dive for the inside and really went for it. My heavens, Gerald Vermillion just coming out of the pits became the chicane and suddenly had both pros hunting down. Noah Hendricks was trying to utilize every little bit he could to ensure that he could force Cardi into a mistake. Unfortunately, it's definitely who had their foot on the gas a lot quicker than that. Werner Skuman looking to try. Werner Swart now trying to get onto Jason Krinkers. We have got reports though. This is Noah Hendricks. Noah Hendricks lost the rear of the car and loses out 2nd place. He's going to lose out a little bit more, however, as he tries to get up to speed yet again. Let's take a look at what happened to Noah Hendricks. Looking down to the bottom of the circuit, late on the anchors. Noah Hendricks trying to get the pass done. Over the curb a little bit too much. Gets the rear caught out. Trail braked and had to wait for the field to come on by before he could get going. And Willem Buerta smiles and waves as he inherits 2nd place from Noah Hendricks, who's going to be kicking himself at the moment after that spin. A little bit further back though, Gerard Vermillion fighting against Robbie Teens. Look towards T1 and couldn't get it to work. We'll have to wait it out a little bit further through the run. Into the pit lane goes for Noah Hendricks and Jason Krinkers at the moment, trying to get their pit stops out of the way. Salvatore Cardi, Willem Buerta, Werner Swart, and Paul Gerber are yet to do their pit stops. Same in the Pro-Am. Etienne Swart, Doug Gerber, and the likes of Fani Cravenstein need to get their pit stops done and dusted before the end of the race. 27 minutes have been completed here at Fuji, and we have seen some mental racing. Byron Mitchell has got Yuri Umpi-Swart on the back of him, and Byron Mitchell knows Yuri all too well. 2 rivals that fight it out in sim, in real life, and despite being friends, I think if you give them a chocolate milkshake each, well, 1 chocolate milkshake and tell them to share, it's going to be a fight out between all of them as well. But they got onto the back of Noah Hendricks, who goes out wide. Hendricks trying to battle his way back to ensure he holds first of those that have done the pit stop. Unfortunately, not working out in his favor as he sits behind Yuri Umpi-Swart. He does go out wide. You know, Hendricks loses the rear. He loses the rear. Locking it. Hey, oh, there we go. A bit of cadence braking to try to bring it back. Noah Hendricks loses the rear on cold tires and was not able to hang with the cars, unfortunately losing out even more time as Willem Buerta will take the lead of the race. Salvatore Cardi now into the pit lane. Let's see where he's going to come out in relation to Byron Mitchell as it stands. We're 28 minutes into this race, and it is going off the rails as it stands. Uriel P. Swart with Byron Mitchell just ahead of him will be looking to see that Salvatore Cardi's in the pits. They will see the likes of Paul Gerber's in the pits. This is opportunity being handled on the cards here. This may be an opportunity to move forward as Jason Krinkers, unfortunately, yellow flag for him. What happened to our German driver? In through the right-hander, gets a bounce on the curb, however, twisted round. Does stop just before the wall. My heavens, drivers have been oh so lucky to avoid any issues on the way through. Byron Mitchell and the likes of Uriel Swart get past, and it is going to be a move up through the order. Paul Gerber will try and get past Salvatore Cardi, who is stuck in pit lane and dropping down like an absolute lead stone at the moment. It's been a long time in the pits for Cardi, and he's only leaving now with the likes of Fani Kravenstein on the back of him. Salvatore Cardi down into 14th, went and tried to go a little bit longer in the race. Unfortunately, didn't work out in his favor. However, Etienne Swart leading out our Pro-Am field and running third overall has got Doug Herbert for a bit of company. Joshua running in third of the Pro-Ams, a little bit further down, is trying to make up some time. He's got quite a fleet of the Pro field sitting in the mix as well. So everyone hoping to make it work here and constantly putting on the charge as we do see Doug Herbert pulling into the pits, and Etienne Swart, Werner Swart all dive into the pits to get their pit stop underway. So, running through the order, it is Willem Buerta, followed by Yaz Samai in second. Werner Swart, Doug Herbert, and Etienne Swart will be watching out because here comes Byron Mitchell, Uriel P. Swart, Joshua Simon not too far back. Look to try and gain a position here and get back into first of the Pro-Am field. As we do see back up towards third place, it is Byron Mitchell leading out the charge with Uriel P. Swart, Werner Swart, Etienne Swart going and losing out to the likes of Joshua Simon, who takes over the lead of the Pro-Am race. Jacob van Lith in sixth place will gain. Paul Gerber, Noah Hendricks, Werner Swart coming out of pit lane has got Jason Krinkers for a bit of company into T1. Jason trying to go for the inside. Unfortunately, no room there. Runs out a bit wide, however, and Werner Swart will now continue on the charge. Door to door they go, fighting for ninth position. Jason moving up into ninth is going to be happy with that. Werner Swart, quick flash of light saying, listen, I'm going to come back at you. Has got Jacques Ever for a bit of company. Jacques late on the anchors in the Rhino Utility SBR team as he tries to continue on as much of a charge as possible. Not an easy time for him, and continues to feel the pressure of Werner Swart of the outside, constantly trying to squish him to the inside. Yassemai diving into the pit lane to get his pit stop done and dusted. Willem Buerta going to be going in a little bit longer in the race here. And Byron Mitchell, along with Uriel P. Swart, will gain yet another position, making a second and third. Uriel P. Swart losing a lot of time off the pack. Noah Hendricks fighting out with Paul Gerber, the team try hard, up against the Asymmetric Racing team. And it is going to be Noah Hendricks running out very, very wide on the exit. Paul Gerber is going to be quite happy with his drive. The Chev is really up to pace here. Got a lot of straight line to counter, being the second fastest car down the main straight, other than the McLaren. However, the slipstream effect of these cars, the toe is incredibly strong, and you can see how Noah Hendricks looked to the inside, running out of road. However, they had to fishtail the car back to keep away from the back of Paul Gerber. These two are absolutely hammer and tongs at one another, and they are not holding back as it stands. Fantastic racing we're seeing from our Pro and Pro-Am drivers out here at Raceface. And take a look, Noah Hendricks around the outside. Paul Herbert holds the inside, late on the brakes, a little bit understeer from both cars. And it looks like Paul Herbert just getting the drive underneath, tries to drag race, but it is going to be Noah Hendricks who gets the pass done and dusted. Paul Herbert will drop in behind, but take a look at Jason Kinkers making a little bit more of a pass back in. Willem Buerta, unfortunately, getting back into pit lane. Looks like something went on for his car, and, well, he was actually just doing a standardized pit stop. He's down into 22nd position. So Willem Buerta now trying to exit ahead of it. Our timing just catching up. Willem Buerta has done enough to keep ahead of Byron Mitchell. So Willem Buerta is charging to the end, holding first place in the pros. And this will be a big podium for him, winning the TCRs here in Raceface not so long ago. Willem Buerta taking on the young guns of Byron Mitchell and Jurien Pissoir without having his teammate of Luc Lecchese by to give him a little bit of support. Noah Hendricks feeling the pressure of Paul Herbert right on the back of him. Jason Krinkers also trying to make up some time here. The German not holding back and wanting to gain the position, as they will be fighting it out tooth and nail as it stands. A little bit further back, however, we have got Gerald Vermeulen, who has got a lot of pressure on the back of him as Roland Ferreira now goes side by side down the main straight. The McLaren having lots of power on the top end, but when it comes to cornering the Porsche, seems to have the advantage. Unfortunately, Gerald Vermeulen could not get the pass sorted out and will fall down. Byron Mitchell now onto the back of Willem Buerta. Nose to tail they go for the lead of the race. Paul Herbert gets the pass on Jason Krinkers as those two fight it out. But we are looking at first of the pros and first overall, duking it out between one another. Willem Buerta trying to break the toe deep on the inside, aims to keep it as close to the pit wall as possible, seeing that there is traffic coming up with the likes of Trevor Harper is going to be the Lamborghini to get round. Byron Mitchell forced to the outside line as Willem Buerta, late on the anchors, keeps it tight, looking to hold the apex, just managing to do so. Byron Mitchell not having the drive, however, but is constantly looking for any break in the armor. Willem Buerta constantly sweeps across the nose to ensure he can keep it going, but falling down the order as well. Paul Herbert, late on the anchors. Jason Krinkers, however, in the Mustang, is able to pull back as well in the fight. Byron Mitchell losing the rear a little bit, trying to go for the outside onto the marbles. Not going to be too clean there to get it sorted out. And Willem Buerta will continue on the charge. The Porsche seems to be all set and ready for this fight. But now Jurien Pissoir joins in the coattails of this and will be fighting out for first place. Willem Buerta now holding first, but how long can he do it as Byron Mitchell on the inside switches to the outside line. Buerta taking a very tight line here. It's very difficult to get good drive. And you can immediately see Byron Mitchell doing the vice versa over the curbs. Learned from last time, keep it absolutely straight. Got a bit of airtime in that Acura and gets first place. Jurien Pissoir immediately swallows up Willem Buerta, and the two of them look to fight it out. Byron Mitchell went absolutely mad on the curbs. What originally spun him out has stuck him into first place, but Jurien Pissoir just not having the top end to deal with the likes of Willem Buerta. Switches over to the nose, late on the brakes. Jurien Pissoir looks to try and get the pass done. Couldn't quite get it sorted out. And immediately, Byron Mitchell takes the lead of the race. Jurien Pissoir feeling the pressure of Willem Buerta as they continue on the charge. It's going to be a monster of a climb for both drivers. That being said, taking a look over to our virtual grandstands, we have got the likes of Jean Fenter, Yaz Samai, who also is racing at the moment. He went and put a bit of a wave, just saying how's it to everyone out there in the grandstands. Jurien Pissoir, however, nearly getting a little bit of a love tap from Willem Buerta, both keeping right on top of one another and continue on the charge. Salvatore Cardi down in 14th position has got the likes of Yuppie Simons trying to make up some time on the back of him. Salvatore Cardi was our initial leader of the race. However, he has now fallen short of the race at standings and really trying to stand on the power. Brandon Roberts onto the back of Fani Cravenstein, both trying to gain some points for the championship. But at the moment, Byron Mitchell, Jurien Pissoir, and Willem Buerta lead out your pros. Joshua Syme, Etienne Swartz, and Doe Gerber round out your top 3 of the Pro-Am field. We've got Johan Bluknoot also out in the virtual grandstands. He's going to be having a bit of fun tomorrow night with some incredible racing, and also will be in the ACC side of racing here at Raceface.Pro on Thursday. So good to see drivers flying across all the way to Fuji to watch some incredible GT3 action and seeing an absolute stellar race between some of the South Africa and the world's top sim racers to fight it out for the top running order. We've got quite a variety of names in racing with us, from Ireland, UK, Italy, Germany, and so much more. Yes, it might once again a wave as well. And I do want to point out, yes, you are in the toe of Etienne Swartz ahead of you. So wouldn't suggest going in doing too many emotes. You might miss your braking marker there and lose out a bit of time. But good to see multitasking. Who says men can't multitask? We can breathe and look at the same time. I think that's close enough. Werner Swart onto the back of Jacques Ever, along with Paul Gerber, just running a little bit ahead of them as they continue on their charge. Willem Buerta up in 3rd place, however, still continues to charge onto the back of Yuri Umpi-Swart. Willem Buerta hoping to gain some positions here and take some points into round 4 in 2 weeks' time. And it's going to be a wild, wild race because Virginia International has always been an interesting circuit for the likes of Willem Buerta. In the TCRs, he was untouchable for the entire season. Virginia was just on another level to the likes of Jurien Pissoir and Byron Mitchell at that time. So he's hoping to carry enough into it to ensure he holds a better standing. And considering he's a little bit further down in the championship, he wants to try and score as many points as possible. Joshua Syme out in first of the Pro-Ams as it's all open up for the Pro-Ams at the moment. Other than Fani Cravenstein starting to make up some time, Willem Buerta and Jurien Pissoir continue the chase on one another, hoping to make it work. But Jurien Pissoir is not backing down. His lap times have been running fairly consistent throughout the race. He's hoping that it's going to make a big impact here and will manage to hold that 2nd place. Well, Trevor Harper is going to be seeing the likes of Byron Mitchell closing up at a rate of knots. So Trevor in the Lamborghini GT3 Hurricane Evo will now start to figure out what is going to be the best course of action here to allow the leader to go through, but not to lose too much time as he needs to try and close up that 4-second deficit to Jan Engelbrecht up ahead in the Pro-Am field. Willem Buerta now having another go, trying to get past Jurien Pissoir, not able to get it done as they lose out a bit of time there. Salvatore Cardi dealing with the likes of Yaz Samai as Yaz continues on his charge. Lying in 10th position, a top 10 is always great, but Salvatore Cardi, the Italian, knows how to put up a fight. We have seen him hold 1st place for quite a long time during the course of this race. Unfortunately, came to the pit stop and it all changed, but we are getting towards the end of the race and drivers need to aim for those positions. If they want to get it done and dusted, if they want to score those points, they need to ensure it is now or never. They are running 1 minute 39s around the circuit and drivers will be keeping an eye on the time because when we hit that 45 minute, the checkered flag will come out and our leaders, Byron Mitchell, Jurien Pissoir, Willem Buerta, will be the first of those to see the checkered flag and hoping to make a big work here. Jason Krinkers onto the back of Noah Hendricks, trying to gain a little bit of time. Unfortunately, couldn't quite do it. Salvatore Cardi gets a pass on Yasemai. Oh, bit of damage to Salvatore's car. And that, unfortunately, not a good one at all. Where did he get that front end damage from? Oh, there was contact with Werner. Is that Etienne Swart? Yes, it was. It was up against Etienne Swart on the way through into turn 1. Let's take a look. So Yasemai's there, and bang, Etienne Swart getting a nose full of Ferrari. A bit of a late dive, unfortunately, couldn't quite work, and 3 wide into T1 is not on the cards. Doug Herber up into second place, getting around the likes of Etienne Swart after a bit of damage to his car. Doug Herber's going to be rather happy and inherit that second place, and will continue to move forward in the running order. Willem Buerta, however, will be seeing leaders on their final lap, and Urian P. Swart managing to hold second place, but only just. It is now or never. You got to get those sends to work. You got to make it work in and around the circuit. There is not much time left for Buerta to get into second place. Urian P. Swart putting in a mighty defense. Noah Hendricks, Jason Kinkers, Salvatore Cardi, and Yaz Samai are having a go, along with Gerald Vermillion getting ahead of Robbie Teens as they continue on, piloting around Fuji. Tight circuit on the infield and fast sweeping corners to deal with. Buerta gets ahead of Urian P. Swart and will look to try and hold second. He holds to the inside line, middle of the circuit, forcing Yuri on the outside. Contact! And it's the rear of Urian P. Swart trying to get ahead of Buerta. Too late on the anchors. Urian P. Swart falls down, and that has given it the likes of Willem Buerta second place in this race. Here comes Byron Mitchell, timed it to the T, and coming across the line, taking the win in the pro field and pro, he is first place overall here for round 3 of the Raceface.Pro GT3 Sprint Series on iRacing. Byron Mitchell of Durant Motorsport will see the checkered flag, but has he done it? No, Willem Buerta has taken first. My heavens, Willem Buerta kept his foot in it right to the end and took first place away from Byron Mitchell. Byron Mitchell falls into second.
Thank you. That
unfortunately,
was a great race, yeah.
got off. Oh, in contact between himself and Urian P. Swart. But Joshua Syme gets first to the Pro-Am field, with Doug Herber coming to the line, will take second place. And what a stellar run. Doug Herber takes second for Team Tryhard. Third place will go to Etienne Swart as he comes across the line just ahead of Brandon Roberts. What an amazing race we had, folks. And it has been a stellar race here at the beautiful circuit of Fuji. And what a monumental run. Absolutely a fantastic race with a fantastic time. And we look forward to seeing our points come up. We are just waiting for the race to conclude. We've got Duncan Roderick and Jan Engelbrecht to come across the line here at Fuji. But for round 3 of the Raceface.Pro GT3 Sprint Series, there was incredible highs and lows, and right at the line, Willem Buerta able to retake first place from Byron Mitchell, who lifted to in celebration and lost out that first place. He is going to be kicking himself of note. Urian P. Swart goes and locks in that third place. Joshua got in that first for the Pro-Ams. So what a monster drive from all competitors. Taking a look at our provisional results. Willem Buerta for the pros takes a win. Byron Mitchell in second place, along with Urian P. Swart, Jakob van Lith, Noah Hendricks, Jason Krinkers, along with Paul Herber, Jacques Eva, Werner Swart, Salvatore Cardi, Yaz Samai, Yuppie Simons, Bradley Searle, Roland Freer, Werner Skuman, Faz Tar, and Luke Lecchese. Unfortunately, with a couple of retirements after an early contact in the race. Taking a look at our Pro-Ams, however, it is Joshua San to take the win ahead of Doug Herber. Etienne Swart running in third place, dropped down significantly after the impact he had with the likes of Salvatore Cardi. Brandon Robert takes fourth along with Fani Crevesy, Jerome Vermillion, Robbie Teens, Duncan Roderick, Johan Engelbrecht, Trevor Harper, Willem Pinot, and Johan Durant, rounding out our Pro-Am pack. What a race, folks. What an impressive race. And we got to see some amazing efforts here at Fuji and drivers really showing what they are able to do at the beautiful circuit. And honestly, quite taken back with all the events that transpired during the course of the race. How drivers had to push a little bit further. How they had to go and battle it out. We got to see the highs, we got to see the lows, and we got to see all happening here at Fuji for round 3 as we start looking forward in 2 weeks' time to Virginia. But we will be aiming to get our top running order drivers to come into the commentary box to have a chat with us and give us some feedback on the race after such an incredible one. And first driver I do want to bring in, who came first to the pros. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, put your hands together for Willem Buerta. Willem, what a phenomenal drive. That was incredible and stole it at the line. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling great. I'm telling you, Stephen, I can't subscribe it. I just want to say thanks to my driver coach, Luke Lucchesi, and my chief mechanic, Luke Lucchesi. So yeah, he helped me a lot, and this is for him.
Well, with everything that went on at the start, did you think that taking a look in the race, first place was on the cards for you?
Not at all. I had good pace, and then when I saw Luke and Werner coming together, I thought, Jesus, okay, well, let me just keep it clean. It's not an easy track. You can spin easy, and I thought, well, let me just push and see what I can do. And yeah, when me and Byron touched, I was a bit upset, but I just got over it and just started driving. And I was catching the front oaks. And I thought, well, this is still on.
Well, it was a race of note, and enjoy the celebrations here at Fuji. But before I let you go, to enjoy the celebrations with the RDS esports team, anything you'd like to say to our amazing partners here at Raceface, to all the drivers, the teams, to your team, and to the most important people? I think you agree with me on this one, Willem, because coming from real world, you know how special it is. Our petrol heads out there in the grandstands.
Yeah, no, look, this was a lot of fun. I mean, it was my first race ever won on this GT3 series in Raceface ever. You know, you always compete against the top folks, and now to go and race against Yuri and Byron and them, and actually having a tussle here and there was good. And I think the coaching worked well. You know, all the upgrades and doing the things right at some stages helps a lot. And I want to say thanks to everybody that helped me, and to your Raceface as well. You know, this is a great series, and there's a lot of people racing, and we need some more.
Well, it was an absolutely stunning one. Willem Buerta, thank you so much, and congratulations on the win, on a stellar effort, and pulling the heist of the century right at the end.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think Byron ran out of fuel. I'm not sure, because the race was on. So thank you a lot.
Absolutely stunning stuff. Willem Buerta, the RDSA Esports, coming having a chat to us after taking the win in the pro and overall, stealing it right at the line ahead of the likes of Byron Mitchell. I mean, that has been a stellar one, and also a massive well done to Joshua San, our Pro-Am winner. So, going through our final in terms of who finished where. That being said, let's take a re-look at it for our results here at Raceface.Pro for round 3 of the GT3 Sprint Series. And our Pro-Am, it was Joshua Syme to take the win. Doug Huber in second place. Etienne Swart in third. Brandon Robert along with Farney Crevesine, Gerald Vermillion, Robbie Teens, Duncan Roderick, Johan Engelbrecht, Trevor Harper, Willem Pinar, and John Durant rounding out the pack. Looking over to our pros, it was Willem Buerta, Byron Mitchell, Urion Piswat, Jaco van der Lith, Noah Hendricks, along with Jason Krinkers, Paul Herbert, Jacques Sever, Werner Swart, Salvatore Cardi, Yaz Samai, Yuppie Simons, Bradley Searle, Roland Ferrer, Werner Skuman, Fast Tar, and Luke Lucchesi rounds out our pack. But that being said, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we've got to say farewell to the beautiful circuit of Fuji Speedway and say hello to Virginia coming up in 2 weeks' time. So make sure you keep an eye on all the racing. If you wish to join us here at Raceface.Pro, please head over to our SimGrid page, join in the fun, join us out on Discord, even just for a conversation. We love to have the feedback from the communities. Massive shout out to our sponsors, Simulator Cave, Rhino Utility, SBR, and Virtual Motorheads for going and supporting us. But most importantly, a massive thank you to all the admins, to all the drivers out there, to all the teams and our stewards. But most importantly, the best ever you can have at a racetrack. The spectators, you on the virtual grandstand, making this all absolutely fantastic. And we'll see you next time. Tomorrow night, we kick it off with Lamar Ultimate for their final round of the championship. All is on for the championship in the first ever season of Lamar Ultimate here at Raceface.Pro. And then on Thursday, the last round of Season 22 of the GT3 Championship on Assetto Corsa Competizione. The two championships wrapping up, starting tomorrow night. Get ready to see all the action. Get ready to have some fun. Make sure you hit the subscribe. Hit the like if you enjoyed it. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, like always, a good morning, a good afternoon, and good night, everybody.